Hello guys, sorry for interruption. Okay, let's begin with this again. Let's begin. Lord Yamaraja says, Nachiketa, you have renounced all that boons that offered you with with the right virtue by judging them with real merits, with your understanding, judging them by with your real understanding, and you did not accept what I offered you. You did not accept the road of wealth in which many mortals sink. The road of wealth it doesn't mean even doesn't alone include the wealth that we acquired throughout the life. The road of wealth here includes lot of knowledge we inquire about our about our scriptures. Like I'm very educated in my area. I'm very fast in doing my work, and I'm very beautiful. I'm very ugly, and all that knowledge we have gathered about ourselves. I'm ugly. I don't do good. I'm average, below average. I'm not intelligent. He's very intelligent. I daily compare myself with that person who is intelligent, and I even compare myself with the person who is more successful than me. And when I continue to have conflict with me, here Lord of Death, which Yamaraja says, it is all road of wealth. Here Nachiketa did not accept it, fall into it, calling it as which many people fall into this sink. So next verse. Here the Lord of Death says, "These two, good and the pleasant, and what is known as knowledge, are wide apart and due to different ends and goals. Pleasant leads to one goal, and goodness leads to one goal. Pleasant mean when you want to satisfy yourself for appetite, like killing animals for the sake of appetite, using another means for your satisfaction, using anything that for own satisfaction gratification, it is called pleasant. And goodness means which doesn't involve self-centered activities like self-gratification, self-satisfaction. Goodness means when you don't harm innocent animals and plants for their own sake, which is called goodness. So here Yamaraja says there's two, goodness and ignorance, what is known as knowledge, are wide apart, are with different things and lead to different goals. Pleasantness leads to one goal and goodness leads to one goal. I believe Nachiketa that to be one who is desire of knowledge. To here Yamaraja says to Nachiketa, you are the desirous of goodness. Even many objects of pleasure did not shake you. Because Yamaraja offered him lots of women for enjoyment, satisfaction, many wealth, women's, lands. He offered lot of things. Still, Nachiketa said, "No, I don't want it." Hmm. Yeah. Says, Nachiket, Yamaraja again says, Avidyam antare vartamanaha swayam dhiraha pandittam anyamanaha the andriyam manaha pariyanta moda andhaneva niyamana yathandha. So Yamaraja again says, the ignorant man who live in the midst of the darkness but fancy themselves to be wise and learned go round and round, deluded in many crooked ways, just as the blind being led by the blind. So here, ignorant man who lives in the midst of the darkness, but many people in the world, although themselves, they called as a knowledgeable, intellectual, wealthy people, businessman, intelligent, intellectual. Here, Yamaraja death calls them as an ignorant man who live in the midst of the darkness. But they consider themselves as intellectual, intelligent, sophisticated, knowledgeable, spiritual, all that stuff. Yamaraja calls them as ignorant, who lives in the midst of the darkness, but fancy themselves to be the wise and learned. And in our own family, who are the elder people, they boast about their hard work, their life struggles. Here, the Yamaraja calls them as ignorant and the people who live in the midst of the darkness, but they fancy themselves to be wise. Our elder people, lot of time boast about their wiseness. They, Yamaraja says to them, they go round and round deluded in their life. They continue to suffer like this throughout their life in many crooked ways, just as blind is led by the blind. When we listen to our what the societies, not society, teachers, neighbors, and our family people, they are ignorant. The Himalaja calls them as ignorant. And haven't you know that when parents do arrange their children's marriage to someone, the children suffer a lot in that marriage. Either domestic violence, dowry systems, you know, divorces happen. It is because our parents, school teachers, friends, relatives, neighbors, all are ignorant. They did not understand their life, so they continue to beget the same thing over and over again. Here, Yamaraja says, just as the blind is led by the blind, they are blind, they are also blind. We both play with each other. You say me one thing, I will follow it. It's the same thing seen by the Yamaraja. Hmm. Here Yamaraja again says, Sa samparaha samparayaha pratibhati bhalanam bhalam pramayadantam वित्तमोहेन मूढ़म् अयं लोको न अस्ति पर इति मनि पुनः पुनः पुनरवाशं पदायते. Hmm. The way to the hereafter is not apparent to the ignorant man who is childish, befooled by the glamour of wealth. Here Yamaraja says, the way to the hereafter is not apparent to the ignorant man. Even if you teach a lot of things, good things about to the ignorant man who doesn't knowledge about the love, even if you tell them about the love, you tell them about the child, brotherhood, fraternity, equality, and that person who is child is befooled, fool person. If you say a lot of good things to him, he will not understand. But if you show him wealth, power, he is easily glamored by them. This is the only world he thinks. He thinks like this is the powerful life, successful life, wealthy life, all that stuff. He thinks this is the only life, not the other. Yamaraja says, thus he falls again and again under my sway. Who's the person, who is befooled by the glamour of life, being popular, famous, wealthy, he kills animal for his unpleasant taste, uh, who says, I'm successful, I will be successful, I will do whatever to get, before every people, I will do competition among the many people. Here, Yamaraja calls them as ignorant man, who is childish, easily befooled by, wealth, And again, last he says, and these people, falls again and again under my sway. Hmm. Ha. Here Yamaraja says, Shravanopi bahubhiryo na labhyah. Shravananto api bahavo yam vidyah. Bhayam na vidyah. Ascharyo vakta kushalasya labdha. Acharyo jnata kushalamo tishtha. Yamaraja says, he the self of whom many are not able to even to hear, whom many, even though they hear of him, do not comprehend. Wonderful is the man, wonderful is the guru, when found, who is able to teach the self. Wonderful is he, the student, the pupil, who comprehends the self when taught by an able teacher. Here, Yamaraja says, he, the self, the Atman, cannot be seen, cannot be heard, whom even many people desire to know how to know that don't understand, and said, wonderful is a teacher when found, wonderful is the guru when found, who is able to teach about the Atman. Wonderful he is the student who comprehends the self, comprehends the Atman when taught by an able teacher. Yamaraja says advocates for the able teacher to be said to be taught about Atma, about the Atma. Now I will end this slide. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much. I will begin with this eighth shloka of the second Valli. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.